Okay, greetings. This is Dr. Ray Lindley, the Executive Director of Array Global Educational Services. I'm thrilled to present to you Dr. Salam Noor. Dr. Salam and I have known each other for several years. In fact, we worked together for several years, and I'm so thrilled that he is a member of our founding board. But today's video is that he is offering his services as one of the consultants that we use in Array Global. That's something we are featuring now, that we have many people who can give consulting services to institutions, and we're thrilled that Dr. Salam is available to do that. So Dr. Salam, it's great to have you here, and it would be nice probably if you just say a little bit about your background, your education and your experiences. I know your experiences are vast, so tell us about that.
All right, thank you so much, Ray. And you can also read about my background on your website, which is absolutely wonderful, with a ton of resources and information that any school would find immensely helpful. But my background is really, it covers the span of K-12 and post-secondary education. Most recently, I served as the Chief State School Officer, which is the State Superintendent for Oregon, responsible for K through 12 education. And actually it's pre-K through 12 because that also included early learning education. I've worked in higher education, both in a teaching capacity, and that's what I do currently at Western Oregon University, and I've been an adjunct in multiple universities throughout my career. And I've also worked in the Higher Education Coordinating Commission, which is the governing body for higher education, universities and community colleges in the state of Oregon. But my most pertinent education, I believe, to the work that Array Global Services does is really working with schools and districts in the United States, but schools and districts abroad as well, and international education specifically. And I really feel fortunate and privileged to be able to bring the experience that I've had through my education career, both at a state level, a district level, and a school level, to share with the wonderful schools and communities that Array Global Services works with across the world, I want to say, because you work with schools in many countries around the world. So I am really thrilled to be a part of that, and I just bring a lot of background and experience working in different education systems, different education settings, different areas of education, ranging from governance, policy, curriculum, instruction, assessment, strategic planning, communication, school improvement, etc.
Great. You know, one thing you didn't say, and I think it's important to say here, is why don't you tell these people what your PhD area is, area of concentration in your PhD, because it's really important in the part of the world that we work in.
Yes. So my graduate work has really been in two key areas. One is Middle East Studies. So I have a doctorate in Middle East Studies and Political Science from the University of Utah. And a lot of my studies and research pertain to that region. Most importantly, I come from that region. I'm fluent in Arabic. I also speak two additional Middle Eastern languages. And I love the culture, I love the people, and I love the fact that we get to work with people from the Middle East and to support their efforts to advance education in their countries and afford students as many opportunities as possible. But my academic work has really been in Middle East studies, studying the Middle East, studying the development of the region, its people, its history, etc. I also have a certificate in executive leadership administration in education from Harvard University, and that work allowed me to take my practical experience in education and apply it in an academic setting. And the emphasis there was on leadership development, leadership capacity, and the importance of leadership relative to what we're trying to accomplish in education.
Yeah, and I have to tell a little story about you that I personally experienced. You were coming to Saudi Arabia with us a few years ago, and you were going to do a workshop, and you were a little concerned that your Arabic might be a little rusty. So we got in late that night, and when we checked in at the hotel, the desk clerk did not speak any English. And immediately you just started speaking fluent Arabic, and you said it just all came back to you immediately. I was really impressed, but I think it's really important for these people to know your educational background as well as your experience. So thank you. Listen, you've been to international schools. You've obviously been all over the United States in schools. Would you mind telling us just a few key things that you've noticed that you think schools are really doing in an outstanding way and it really impressed you? I think that's important to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, one of the things that has always impressed me about the international school visits that we have the opportunity to go on is that we are supposed to bring our own experience and our own knowledge and wisdom, if you will, to these schools, because they're seeking international accreditation, and we come in as experts and people that have vast backgrounds and experience in all facets of education. But what I've always found fascinating is the level of commitment that you find in international school. And that level of commitment is demonstrated through the quality people that they hire to do the work. So there is a big emphasis on making sure that you have a quality teacher and a quality administrator in the school building. And then the ongoing effort to build capacity in terms of professional development, curriculum design. So as a person that focuses on systems, if you will, and that's an area of expertise that I have, and I enjoy tremendously working in systems development, that's what I really find to be impressive about a lot of those schools, is that they're trying to build a system that aligns curriculum, instruction, and assessment, that develops a comprehensive education professional development plan. And most recently, I saw something in Saudi Arabia in particular that I found to be really impressive, and that is the desire to connect with community, with parents and stakeholders relative to what's happening in the school. So I just value these experiences, and I'm always impressed with the level of commitment that these individuals have to the students and the mission of education in that school and country, and the dedication to make sure that these kids, those students, we always call them kids, as you well know, Ray, those students receive the best education possible. And the fact that they're beginning to expand their definition of education. So it's not just academic learning, but there is the lifelong learning skills, those critical skills that students need to be successful, regardless of what endeavor they pursue after high school.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I've often used the term, I feel that when we go into schools, they're like sponges. They want more, and they're very, very dedicated to doing, which is what Array Global is all about. We want to help schools improve. Well, thank you. I think you've kind of covered a lot of the area, but if schools are interested in engaging you as a consultant, what are the areas that you feel you could really be comfortable in sharing with them, either electronically or in person, if the timing is right? But what are some specific areas that you would like to be available in case they ask?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ray, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experience with schools and educators globally. I believe I can offer a lot of insights relative to developing systems. And when I think about systems, I think about, what drives their education system in that school, or sometimes we work with an entity that represents multiple schools. So think about it as a school district. But I think of systems in terms of the relationship between component parts. So quite often we spend a lot of time thinking about curriculum, but we don't spend enough time thinking about instruction and assessment. And those three pieces really go together. We spend quite a bit of time thinking about professional learning communities, or teaming, if you will, but we don't think about the data that we need to use to make really good informed decisions. And we don't think about how we use that data to determine what professional development we need to have in our school to help all of our students and faculty, teachers be successful. So I really love the systems work in terms of how do these parts fit together. And quite often there is a methodology as to where you begin. Do you begin with your curriculum, or do you begin with your assessment? Do you begin with your operations, or do you begin with your organizational structure? So I think I can help schools and educational entities and partners that we would work with think through that process and help them outline the process so it is a successful outcome at the end. Part of that is also doing some strategic planning around visioning, mission work, strategic goals and objectives, outcomes, and how do we hold ourselves accountable for those outcomes. I tend to approach things from a very student-centered perspective. There is a facilitation process that I take schools and districts through, and school boards. I'm working with school boards in our community now around what I call design thinking. And design thinking is a very humanistic process that focuses on the customer or the client. And in education, that customer is the student. So it really unpacks the process so we have a better product at the end. And I also have a lot of technical expertise in post-secondary education, alignment to colleges and universities, assessment and post-high school assessment. I also have, as you well know, Ray, we work together on this. I have an extensive background in career and technical education, or vocational education, as many parts of the world still refers to, and how to align academic and career and technical education so we have students that are well-rounded in their educational development and skill attainment, and not just focused on academics or vocational tracks, because those two things go together now. They're integrated. I can go on and share with you some specific technical areas I can support, but in general, I'm really pretty flexible, and I've been fortunate to have had a career that provided me a very diverse and vast exposure to a variety of areas, just like yours. I think you and I have similar backgrounds and a career path. And I would just be delighted to be to have the opportunity to work with schools and school leaders. And one of the things that I do a lot of now in my consulting company is to be an executive coach, to do a lot of executive leadership and coaching, and help school administrators and even superintendents and school boards be successful in what they're trying to accomplish.
And one thing you can't say, but I'll say, he's a nice guy. He's pleasant to work with and very, very approachable. Well, Dr. Salam, it's really an honor that you are part of us and that you are going to be working with us, part of the executive board. So nothing gets happening without his input in the decision making. So thank you very much for your time. If anybody watching this is interested in Dr. Salam or any of our consultants, all you need to do is send us a message on Facebook, or you can send us a message at our website, which is www.arrayglobal.org. And we'll be, if you're interested and you're interested specifically in Dr. Salam, we will forward that message and let you to the institution and Dr. Salam start talking with each other, and we'll work together. So thank you for the time that you've spent with us today. I do hope that our institutions are finding this to be helpful. We're going to try to feature our consultants on a fairly regular basis so that they know who we have working. So thank you very much and appreciate your support.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I just want you to know how thrilled I am to be working with Array Global Services. And the main reason I want to be a part of this is because of your approach, your philosophy, your integrity, and the way you build relationship with schools and school communities throughout the world, I want to say. So that really makes me excited about the opportunities here. And you always underscored the importance of partnership. So this is a partnership between Array Global Services and whatever school or school community we work with.
Great.
I look forward to that. Thank you.
You're very kind. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.